What's up, YouTube? My name is Talon, and today I'm here to give a overall review over Superman. So, this will be a spoiler review, but if you're thinking about seeing this movie versus not seeing it, I recommend this movie. I recommend seeing it, especially if you're into DC, even Marvel or whatever. I highly recommend this movie. I will probably give it about I'll probably say it's an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. I want to see it again. So that is my basic review. So we're about to get into some spoiler talks. I'm gonna be talking about the overall movie, the post-credit scenes, all of that. So if you're on the fence about seeing this movie, go see it and then come back to this review so that, you can see my thoughts, see if we agree on things. So right off the bat, I think a lot of the characters I would say all the characters were really good in this movie. The chemistry between Lois Lane, Clark Kent / Superman was really good. Even the relationship between Clark and his parents felt genuine and it felt real. The Justice Gang was pretty good. I thought it was pretty funny how we got Darwin from X-Men as Mr. Terrific in this movie, and we got Beast from X-Men as Lex Luthor in this movie, which was pretty funny. So like both of those characters that was initially in that first X-Men First Class movie from 2010 maybe was, in this movie. They didn't interact or anything, but it's cool to like see things like that, especially like with how that franchise went, and then how I forget the actor's name, but the guy who played Darwin, he got like super screwed over by like Fox and his overall character of like who he should be. But that's besides the point. Nathan Fillion was really good as Guy Gardner. I hate Guy Gardner in any scene, like media that he's featured in. I'm never a fan of Guy Gardner, whether he's in comics or animated movies or now live action. This is his first live action appearance. I think he was super accurate to who his character is. Just like Batman did, there's a lot of times where I just want to punch him in the face. So, there's that. I think the beginning of the movie and like how it started to where we were just basically just coming in and hitting the ground running was a really good idea, especially giving us something to build up to. They could make an animated movie or a flashback scene to where we see how Superman lost that fight and he got to the Fortress of Solitude. I've always liked seeing movies that begin that way to where like if they ever want to do a prequel, they can. I think that was really good. James Gunn put his flair on this movie, I feel like, but it was more different than all his other movies. I would have to watch the Suicide Squad movie, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and the Superman movie again to really feel like what's my favorite. But right now it's between the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie and Superman, between like James Gunn's projects. I can't really decide which one I like better, but I don't know, man. I am really leaning towards Superman, and I just want you guys to know that this is completely unbiased because as a kid, I was growing up, I was never a fan of Superman. I watched all 4 Christopher Reeves movies, but that was just to watch it because I was a fan of comics as a kid. And then, of course, with Brandon Routh, when he came over and took over the role in like 2004 for Superman Returns, I enjoyed it. But when it came down to my 2 favorite superheroes, it was always Batman and Spider-Man right above that. I'm just on a tangent about Superman, so that's why I slipped up and said that. But even if you look at my comic collection, I don't have a lot of Superman comics. I have his death and his return that they did in the 90s, but this one really made me enjoy the movie for like what it is and enjoy Superman's character. Because even me now, I really like flawed characters. I'm not really the biggest fan of like those perfect characters with no flaws. And I feel like James Gunn was so accurate to who Superman is and like who he should be on film. And it really resonated, and it made you like feel hopeful, especially with like what was going on with like Superman and trying to protect the country of Baravia. That whole story plot was good. I don't really have a whole lot of problems with this movie. Even I feel like the CGI looked really good, music was good. There's like one thing that took me out of the movie was when Mr. Terrific was like pulling up to like pretty much save Superman. There was like an actual song playing instead of like a thematic song. But that's something that James Gunn tends to do for a lot of his movies. You see it a whole lot in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I'm pretty sure it was in the Suicide Squad movies too, maybe a scene or two, but that was like the only one that was in there for that scene. And then after that, like it was all just like thematic, like music to where like it's an inspiration to John Williams. And I think Superman's theme was really good, man. And like it's crazy to say because like Henry Cavill was like the guy who like truly made me enjoy Superman as a character, even though it wasn't accurate whatsoever to who Superman was. It just made me like Superman a little more. But now with David Corenswet, I don't know. I think he's really up there, and he has the potential to probably be the best Superman of all time, especially if James Gunn is directing it, because we have Superman flying around, actually saving people, actually being a heroic and bright character like he's supposed to be in the comic books. And even in the movie, there's a scene where he saves a fucking squirrel. A squirrel. Like, that's something that you see in the comic books where he's saving cats from trees and shit. And that's something that, like, I really enjoy because, like, that's who Superman is. Because not a lot of superheroes are going to do that. Hulk Girl ain't going to do that. Green Lanterns, any of them aren't going to do that. Mr. Terrific isn't doing that. Like, that's who Superman is. He's going to save any life that he can. And that's who Superman is. So, this is getting a little longer than I thought. But, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm probably going to see it again at some point this weekend just to like get a refresher now since I know like what's coming. And well, let's talk about what's coming. So as far as the post-credit scene, it really was just like a jokey post-credit scene, but towards the end of like really at the end of the movie, they start setting up for what's to come. If you are on YouTube or you watch a lot of content creators about like what's to come, like then you know that we're getting a Supergirl movie next year, and the Superman movie sets that up. We finally get to see her in her suit, and it looks so good. I knew like as soon as he got there, they were like, your cousin's on the way or something, he said, and I was like, yep, here she comes. Here she comes. Like, I was getting all excited, and I've never been this excited for Superman. Like, and I was a huge fan of the Justice League cartoon and then Justice League Unlimited. And Superman was never my favorite character. It was always Batman as number one and John Stewart Green Lantern as number two, as far as like who's on the team. But man, Superman, this movie was done very well. I liked it. Like I said, it was an 8.5 out of 10. It definitely sets up the future. There's a surprise cameo in there too that I was surprised for, but it was kind of expected because of what's to come later this year. But so far, I think Superman is probably the best comic book movie that has come out this year for 2025. It's better than Captain America Brave New World, and it's sad to say it is better than the Thunderbolts movie. I know a whole lot of people did not go see that movie. It only made like 500 to 600 million or something like that, give or take, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I think Superman is a better movie than the Thunderbolts. But me personally, because of who I like flawed characters and everything, I enjoy the Thunderbolts more than I enjoyed Superman, if that makes sense. But I do think realistically Superman is the better movie, because like I said, I would give Superman an 8.5 out of 10, while I give the Thunderbolts movie more of a 7.8 to 8 out of 10. So, or no, I'm pretty sure in my movie I said, or my review I said it was an 8 out of 10. So, Superman is just a little better. So, I'm pretty sure the last comic book movie that we're getting this year is the Fantastic Four movie, and that's literally coming out in a couple weeks from now. So expect a review for that. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, because when it comes to superheroes, you can expect me to make content about it regardless. But I'm here for everything else as far as like Star Wars and anime reviews, reactions, everything. So, stay tuned for everything else. Like I said, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, comment down in the comments what you guys thought. I will be putting spoilers in the title. So if you guys want to talk spoilers or like what you guys overall like thought about this movie, put it down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Stay hopeful.